Dogs love to chew. It's their instinct. They want to get into something and really start gnawing on it. But what can happen is if we give them the wrong chew toy, we can actually damage their teeth. And I'll show a little photo of Dexter's damaged teeth from when I gave him some chew toys that were a little too tough. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to go over some of these common chews and tell you why I don't like them or why I do like them. You obviously can make your own choice, but we're just going to cover a few of those. And I always want to say that every dog's different, and anytime you're offering your dog a chew, you really want to supervise them to make sure that he can interact with that chew safely. And some of these items were actually on the list that I used to give Dexter. And as with everything, over time we start to learn better, and we start to learn what products are a little more safe. So you might have seen some of these chew sticks. They're actually very edible for dogs, and some of the dogs can actually chew on them for a while before they actually eat them. But are they safe? Are they healthy for our dogs? Let's find out. So the first thing is, it's actually relatively soft. So when we have a dog and we're concerned about their teeth, we want to make sure that their chew is actually not too hard. A lot of times people think the harder the better, but the harder, the worse is for their teeth. So this is soft. It's a soft texture. So that part would be okay. But let's see the ingredients. What's inside that treat? When we're looking at things, remember the front of the bag is not what we want to look at. We want to look at the actual ingredients, because on the front of the bag it says made with real chicken. Well, that sounds really good. So let's see if that's really what's inside. So when I look at the ingredients, what's inside: rice flour, wheat starch, sugar. I don't want to give my dog sugar. I already know that. Chicken meal, water, chicken. Oh, there's our real chicken. Glycerin, propylene glycol, powdered cellulose. Cellulose is actually that wood product that we find in that compressed board. Poultry fat, gelatin, caramel color, monoglycerides, phosphoric acid, potassium sorbate. That's actually a preservative that I personally stay away from myself because it causes terrible migraines, and that is a very nasty ingredient. And then it continues. The list is still longer. So is this a yes or a no? A big fat no. No, no, no. Not only do we have a lot of toxins in there, but we have sugar in there too. I don't want to give my dog sugar. So the next thing we have is actually, again, something that I used to give my dog. I think Dexter might have been one of them. And these are those little rawhide type of munchie chips. So when we look at it, well, one, I'm looking at it and saying it's green, so I'm wondering what that green is, and it could be something, maybe it's spinach. So I can break it, so that tells me it's soft, so I can feel comfortable that it's soft enough for their teeth, because I know we can break it with my hands. But then what's in the inside? So ingredients: rawhide, and we'll talk about rawhide in a second, chicken, rice, calcium carbonate, sodium bicarbonate, dextrose, salt, glycerin, sorbitol, parsley seed oil, maybe that's our green, tetrasodium prophosphate, potassium sorbate, which is another preservative. Oh, here we go. FD&C blue 1, FD&C yellow 5. So I don't think that this is our parsley seed. I think this is our food coloring. So these are definitely things that I'd want to stay far away from my dog. And then next up down the line are the things that are supposed to be nice and minty fresh for their teeth. But we know how we're going to care for our dog's teeth, right? We're going to brush them. So if I'm looking, oh, so they stink. So I just opened this bag and it stinks really bad. So I'm going to hold this treat and I'm going to see, well, there's our flexibility, and I can break it in half, so that's nice. And any of these treats that I can break in half, I mean, I know that that's going to be soft enough for their teeth, but it also makes me go, are we going to swallow that? Are we going to chunk it up, take a couple bites, and then try to swallow that whole? Dexter? Yep, he would. So for me and Dexter, even if the ingredients in here were perfect, this would still be a no for Dexter. So let's check out the ingredients. So rice flour, vegetable glycerin, water, natural chicken flavor, calcium carbonate, brewer's dried yeast, lecithin, garlic, tricalcium phosphate, dried alfalfa, parsley, fennel, dill, peppermint, and those are the things that are the good stuff for their teeth. and then preservatives in there. So this is an ingredient, when I'm looking at it, rice flour, vegetable glycerin. Vegetable glycerin, by the way, will give Dexter the diarrhea in a second. So that always doesn't do well for dogs. So another ingredient, another chew that I would stay away from. When I'm feeding Dexter his treats and chews, I look for single-sourced items. He doesn't need a bunch of crap to have a nice, good chew. So then here's something. Here's a nice beefy bone. Probably something, if I look at in the store, I'm going to say, well, it probably doesn't have a lot of ingredients, so that's probably going to be okay. But when I look at these bones, I also know just from history that these are the hard bones. These are the types of bones that Dexter used to have, very similar, that he'd break his teeth on. So that's the concern with these types of bones, with these knuckle bones, with these femur bones, with those hollow solid bones, is they break teeth. So I want to stay away from anything that's that hard and break teeth. So I don't even need to look at the ingredient panel to know that this is something that I would stay away from Dexter. Having a bigger dog in the past, I also know that with these bones, even though they feel hard, he was able to take chunks off. So again, those are some big choking hazards. Right there's a knuckle that could easily come off with the right dog to get a nice chew. And then we're going to swallow that whole. So we will just look at the ingredient panel just to see what's in there. So this is a pork femur, 100% natural dog treat. Anytime I'm giving Dexter something, I also want to know how it's sourced. So if I am giving him something like a pork product or a beef product, I want to know how that animal was raised. Are they antibiotic free, hormone free? I definitely want that to be the case if I'm going to give it to Dexter. I don't want him to have any antibiotics or hormones in some of his products like this. So I'm going to look at it, and it doesn't say anything about being antibiotic or hormone free. So since the label doesn't say that, I'm just going to assume that it's not the case. Because for most products, if they are antibiotic and hormone free, they want to promote it. They want to say, look how good our cows are. We're antibiotic free, hormone free, grass fed. So there you have it. So if I look at the ingredients, let's take a peek. Let's just see. Pork bone. So there it is. It's 100% the ingredient. So that's the idea that I want. But again, I don't want that hard bone. So this would be something that I would be a no from. So then we have the trusty rawhide type of chew. So this is a huge no for me. So these things are processed in such a way that they're just terrible for dogs. Most rawhides are actually from China anyway. So that's a big no-no, but they're so processed to get them white like that and to get them dried out. The other thing, forget about the processing, is how the dogs chew them. So with these rawhides, they're tough at first. You know, they have a hard texture. I wouldn't be able to bust this in half, but once they start chewing it, it gets soft, which is what I like, but when it gets soft, then they're going to start getting a piece off, so that soft piece is going to break off, and when it gets soft, it also swells up. So now your dog's broken off a piece to chew, and that may have even been a nice small piece. And he's going to take that piece and he's going to swallow it. While it's coming down here, it's going to continue to swell. So what might have been that big, as he digests it, it's actually going to swell up a little bit more. So that can cause some choking hazards. So here we have one of our synthetic bones. So it's not a real meat product, it's a plastic product. So I give my dog lots of hollow toys filled with food, and I feel pretty comfortable doing that because he's not eating the rubber. But for these, they're actually meant for our dogs to chew on and gnaw on. And this is actually one of Dexter's old bones that I pulled away, and I don't know if the camera can catch it, but he does have little bite marks there. And if you see those little bites, that also means that these dogs that chew these, and they're really aggressive chewers, and they really start to get pieces off, they're getting pieces off. Pieces of what? Pieces of plastic. So not only are they chewing on plastic, that I can't even imagine what's in here, but now they're actually eating that plastic. So how are they going to digest that plastic? What are those pieces going to do to their intestines when they eat them? So this now for me is another no. And from my no pile, I never want people to feel bad. We're really just trying to do what's best for our dogs, and we're just trying to educate ourselves along the way. So my no pile over here used to be a yes pile. I used to use all these things till I really started to do some research and figure out what's actually inside these products and how are they affecting my dog. So the point of today's video isn't to make you feel bad, but it's to try to find better things for our dogs. What are some options that are going to be less harmful for our dogs, and how do we keep them busy and at the same time let them have a good chew? So what are some of our options? What are some of the things that are healthy for our dogs that we can feel comfortable about giving our dogs so that we can kind of encourage that chew on the right thing and not our furniture? So my favorite thing for the most part are bully sticks. So I want to make sure again that these bully sticks are antibiotic free, hormone free, grass fed. The other thing that I want to make sure for bully sticks is that they're odor free, because if they're not odor free, they're going to stink so bad. Your dog's going to love the extra smell and the extra taste, but you're going to hate me, and I'm going to get all these messages that, why did you do this to me, Tanya? So look for the odor free ones. The way that they're odor free is they just dry them out a little longer. So with a bully stick, the thing that I like about them is they actually feel hard. So when I'm here and I feel it, again, I can't break it, although you can see it does have a bend to it. But unlike the rawhide, when they chew it, and here's part of Dexter's that's been chewed, but what I like about it is when they chew it, it gets wet and soft, and it kind of has a rawhide type of texture when that happens, but it doesn't piece off. So unlike the rawhide where they get that texture and get it soft and then they bite a piece off, this just kind of disappears. So Dexter will be chewing on it, and then it just starts to get smaller. He never has any big pieces. I've never seen him chunk it up. So I feel pretty safe about this. However, there is going to be a time as we're chewing it that it's going to start getting smaller and smaller, and we're going to start to get to the end. I don't ever allow Dexter to swallow the end. I don't recommend that either. Although it's supposedly safe for them and they say it's okay, I don't want that piece, even if it's an inch long, to be swallowed whole. So for me, this is a chew that he only gets when I'm around. That way, when it starts to get too small, I'm right there and I can hang on to the end and let him keep chewing it for a little more so that he can get more. But then when it starts to get too small, I have the end and then we throw it away. So I don't have to worry about any kind of choking hazard. Some dogs are such chewers that you'll give them a bully stick, and even though we might think that it might last a while, they actually go through it and it takes like 10 minutes. So supervise with your dog first. If your dog has any kind of resource guarding, meaning he doesn't want you to take things back that are valuable, then I would recommend holding it while he takes that chew first. So you take the bully stick and you offer it to your dog. You're like, look at this great chew, but I'm going to hold on to the other end. That way I can monitor how fast you're chewing it and how you're going to interact with that chew, and if need be, I can take it and throw it away. One of the other things that I use for Dexter is actually beef tripe. So this is beef tripe and it's just dehydrated and it's nice and crispy and chunky. So he's easily able to kind of chew it and chew little pieces off, and it won't just break like that and he swallows it. He'll actually kind of munch on it and just kind of chomp, 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 chomp until it's gone. This is something that's quicker. So this is something that when I give to Dexter, I know he's going to eat it pretty quickly, where the bully stick is something that's going to be a little longer lasting. Sometimes weeks and months for Dexter. It just depends on if he goes for a chew. And like with all of our products, I want to make sure that when I'm getting Dexter some beef tripe, antibiotic, hormone-free, grass-fed, so that again, that's a nice product that he's going to be digesting. One of our other favorites are actually dehydrated fish skins, and these come in a variety of fish types and a variety of chew types. So this one that I happen to have here is actually haddock, and it's crunchy. So you'll see that it just kind of, and Dexter's over there drooling, that it's kind of crunchy, and it takes him just a little bit to kind of chew on it, maybe a minute or two, maybe a little more, and then it's gone. Some of the fish chews are actually a little more chewy, and they'll take a little longer to eat. And with those fish chews, I really watch Dexter chewing it because they don't break up as easily as this one does. So kind of like the bully sticks, I know at the end I want to be there to make sure that he doesn't try to swallow one last piece. And for us, we kind of have a routine. He knows that when he's going to get something like that I'm kind of hovering there for him, and I'll take it at the end, and then I take it and I actually will cut it up to little pieces so that he can eat it. So there's no reason that I can't have it back because he knows I'm going to cut it up in little pieces and give it to him. Another product I like is dehydrated sweet potato chips. So they can come in pretty nice sizes, maybe about 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches long, depending on the company. But that's another nice chew that the dog can kind of chew on, chomp on. But again, we want to make sure that our dog's safe with each item. So you really want to supervise each one to make sure that he's not going to swallow anything whole. One of the other products that I've used in the past, and I kind of use sparingly, is you can get pig snouts, and they'll actually be the pig's nose, but it'll be soft. It's not like the pig's ear where it's hard and it can crack and chip, but they're really soft and pliable. So it's really nice for their teeth. But you do want to be cautious to make sure that they're not taking chunks off, and again, swallowing chunks whole. How that pig is processed is really important as well because we don't want to get any salmonella. Finally, one of the last things that I do and that we do every night for Dexter is just a good old-fashioned rubber hollow toy that I fill with his dog food the night before. So for Dexter, he gets a home-cooked meal, so that means that we have lots of food that's wet and moist, and I'll take one of his favorite chew toys. We have lots of different ones, lots of sizes, lots of shapes, and I'll fill that up and then I'll freeze it. And so then the next day, he's got a frozen chew. So this will give him something to do. So he can chew on this and get that chew urge. He's getting his dinner or his breakfast out of there. So these are his daily calories. They're not additional calories. It's a soft toy, and it can feel really comfortable about what's going in his body. When you have a young dog or a very active dog that needs a lot of chewing, just get lots of hollow toys and feed all of his meals out of these toys so that your dog can really engage his chew urge in a really nice way. So hopefully you found some of these tips helpful. You'll go through your dog's chew stash, figure out what's good, what's not, and look for those nice healthy treats for our dogs.